This episode is sponsored by UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics. UPMC Altoona Elite Orthopedics is proud to support youth sports across our region and proud to sponsor the 2023 high school football preview on the Altoona Mirror YouTube channel. To learn more about their board-certified orthopedic surgeons and the wide range of orthopedic conditions they treat, or to schedule an appointment in one of their facilities in Holidaysburg or Bedford, visit upmcaltoona.com/ortho or call 814-889-3600.
I don't want to give away the ending of why they did it. Then he just did another, he did the movie that you saw, Knock at the Cabin Door.
But Teased was in there.
Yeah, Dave Teased. That was like an end of the world movie.
Yeah.
Nice cheery movie. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Week 11. It's time for the high school football playoffs. We got 7 games featuring mirror court coverage area teams, and we're going to talk about all of them. We've got to do our introductions first. Veteran guru. I thought I'd add veteran to the word guru this year. Veteran guru Mike Boydham has come up with our list, joined again by Andy Stein, soon to be just a guru, but still a junior guru.
I'm getting there.
And I'm Scott Franca. We have Dan Eisberg behind the camera. And we'll get right to the fact is that nobody gave us anything, but that's all right. Mike and I did get our drinks here, even though Andy has his water. So there we go. That's all we have. So we're going to go right into the playoff games. District 6, 6A semifinal, a rematch from a regular season game. Altoona at Mifflin County. Does Mifflin County have any of a chance? I mean, I know back when they played in week 3, they thought they had a chance, and it didn't turn out well.
Hey, you know what? I know we always start with me on these games, but I think we should switch over to Andy because this is the exact same scenario as last year.
It was, and I don't remember what the score was in the regular season last year, but it was a blowout, kind of like this year's blowout was with Altoona Mifflin County.
Altoona blew out Mifflin County.
I believe this year was 35-0 final. I think it was 28-0 in the first quarter. But it was a lot like that last year in the regular season. In the playoffs they meet, it's a very close game. If you'll remember right, Mifflin County was playing very inspired ball that day. They were dealing with the loss of their former coach, Coach Seckler, that day.
That's right, he passed away.
And they played very inspired ball. They very well could have beat Altoona that day. So I think the message from Vince Niedermeyer this week was you can't take this game lightly, and nor should they, because they remember what happened last year.
And if you remember, too, Mifflin County, it was a real bad weather game. Altoona literally got to Mifflin County and were told in 20 minutes, be ready to play because this storm's coming and we got to get this game in.
Yeah.
And I got to think that's just, I mean, the odds that that's going to happen again. But, Altoona was up 28-0, I think, at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, and Braun Mosley's actually been leading. He's been leading the area in rushing, and that's he missed a game due to injury. So if Mifflin County's going to compete in this game, it's going to have to start with slowing him down. So that's going to be their big task. But, hey, they had to beat Redland last week to get into the playoffs because they have a 500 rule.
They do.
And they got that win. It was a comeback win. And, you're riding that momentum of got that win. And now, hey, they know last year that they were in this situation and they maybe let one get away from them. And this year they want to take advantage of the opportunity. They're playing at home. We'll see what happens.
You got to take Mosley out, force either Freewald or LaRocca to beat you throwing the ball. And it's easy for us to say that. It's another thing to do it. A championship game next on Mike's list, the Class 5A championship. There's only 2 teams in there. Central Mountains, number 2 seed, Holidaysburg, number 1 seed. This game is going to be at Mansion. Mike, Hollidaysburg's 4-5, I believe. You can tell us a little bit more about Central Mountain here.
Well, they're 3-7. Haven't had a great season, but both these teams have an improved record over last year when neither one of them entered the playoffs and the district championship just kind of was vacated. But they, have really struggled against Holidaysburg overall over the past 10 meetings. Central Mountains lost all of them. And I think in the last 6 meetings, Holidaysburg scored at least 35 points in all of them. Holidaysburg's 4-5. That's not a great record, but hey, they have played a really tough schedule, and they have gotten themselves ready for this game. The question is how healthy are they going to be? Because Drew Weiland got banged up again last week. Maddox Bainey was already banged up. They were down to their 3rd-string quarterback. I think it's all about, is Holidaysburg going to be healthy enough to win this game and then move on and put a scare into whoever they play after that?
Well, I was curious. I know you're from the Mid-Valley area, but you got to be aware that Central Mountain was a combo of Bald Eagle, Nittany, Lock Haven, Sugar Valley. And Bald Eagle, Nittany, and Lock Haven were nice football programs. Yeah. I was always kind of surprised that Central Mountain wasn't better than what they were. Like when Shannon Manning got there, they were good at the beginning, and then last year and this year, they've kind of. I just can't figure out why.
It's interesting. I've been to that school's football field. That's a great facility they have there. It is interesting how they haven't quite put it together in there, but hey, like Mike said though, Holidaysburg's a little bit banged up. If they're playing with a 3rd-string quarterback, that's tough. But I still think they would have. More than they should have enough talent to get by this game, though, even with all the injuries.
And that 3rd-string quarterback is Homer Delatre's 10th grade son, Cole Delatre.
And I will say, I did just cover Central Mountain. They shut Altoona out in boys soccer, so maybe some of their athletes are playing soccer
instead of football. Going on to our next game here, a Class 3A semifinal. Tyrone, number 3, at Penn, Cambria, number 2. And this was a rematch. Was this last year or 2 years ago?
They did not play last year. Penn Cambria was the number 1 seed, so they had actually gotten a bye. And Tyrone and Central played in the semifinal. But in 2020 and 2021, these teams met in the playoffs. Tyrone won the 2020 game. Penn Cambria won 2021, and then but both of those games were at Tyrone. This one's the first one up at Penn Cambria. And it's kind of an interesting storyline with, John Franco going back up to Crescent, where he recently, in 2019, February of 2019, I believe it was, he decided to leave Penn Cambria to go back to Tyrone. And Nick Velas came in, and he's kind of turned that program around. They had started winning when Coach Franco was up there as well, but,
2 years,
they kind of really changed the way that the program was going, and they really put in a physical running, and they really have made a mountain mentality, as Coach Velas talks about. And even Coach Franco, when I talked to him this week, he said he credited Nick was really doing a great job of turning that program around up there. And it's just interesting how 2019 was kind of a crossroads for both Penn Cambria and Tyrone, and they've met now. This is the 3rd time in 4 years in the playoffs.
And both of these teams are coming off losses. Bald Eagle area really, I thought some people thought Bald Eagle could win, but not like that. And then for Tyrone, and I think, I don't know if you were in here with us.
Maybe Dan was here at the end. Yeah.
Tyrone was up 14-0. I turned that game off, started paying attention to the World Series, and then Tyrone loses. So one of these teams is going to end up losing their last 2 games of the season.
And that's hard luck. I definitely didn't think Penn Cambria would lose. But as much as they did, but hey, Bald Eagle area is a very good team. I saw Bald Eagle area the week before last week, so I would think that Tyrone still feels pretty good. I know it was a 2-point loss, but hey, they lost to another good team too. So it's right now. Hey, it's 0-0 though for everybody. So line up.
Our next game, this has to be like the best 8-1 matchup, I think, around the area, Pennsylvania maybe. Bishop Guilfoyle, number 8 at Bald Eagle area, number 1 seed, Class 2A quarters. And this is a rematch of the game that I believe you covered the start of the season back in August, week 1. What's in store for the fans for this game?
Well, first of all, both teams are completely different at this point. Bald Eagle area said, when I talked to Coach Nagel after the game last week, he said he felt like they had some missing pieces on defense. They always felt good about their offense, but he felt like their defense, they found the way the puzzle all went together, and their defense has been really good over the last couple of weeks. I saw it against Penn, Cambria. Andy saw it against Bellwood 2 weeks ago. And their defense is kind of unexpected, where we all knew their offense would be good because Carson Nagel's a good quarterback. He's got lots of weapons, and Cameron Watkins, the Burns family. I think some of them are brothers, some of them are cousins. Bo Taylor, he's a good player. And then Cameron Dubbs is a good running back. Now, for BG, they've kind of had to figure out offense and put the puzzles together on offense because so many of their skill players were new coming into this year, and this was their first game. They were just getting their feet wet, and I remember that game. They scored on their first possession, and I was like, well, I guess that didn't take them very long.
They're going to be fine.
But then they didn't score the rest of the game. So, maybe being in the same situation, being back at the field, maybe they have a little bit more of a comfort level this time. But hey, the lights are going to be bright on them. The expectations of BG are just so big because when I talked to Coach Wheeler, I think he gave me a stat, something like 9 of the last 11 years they've been in the district championship. It's either 9 of the last 11 or 9 of the last 10. They played for district championship, and they've won 7 of those. So, that's the expectation, is to win the district championship. Now, this is the 12th year in a row they've made the playoffs, but making the playoffs is not the goal at BG, and I am interested to see how some of the younger kids handle that pressure this week.
And how about the fact is that they're underdogs? BG football is an underdog, and I'm curious if the coaching staff there will play that up, saying like, hey, nobody thinks, look, we're the 8th seed. Like, they already beat us. Yeah. Nobody thinks we have a shot at that. I got to think that's what they're doing.
I would think so, and I think they can use that to their advantage, honestly. But hey, I mean, Bald Eagle area is an interesting team. Obviously, they put up, some really big numbers. But when I saw them 2 weeks ago, they can also be on playing the field position battle, kind of like Iowa football does. I don't want to compare them to Iowa because they put up much better offensive numbers than Iowa does. But they can also beat you just by shortening the field. When I saw them against Bellwood, I think they started 2 drives inside the red zone. So. They're a very dangerous team, and I think it serves BG well to play that underdog role this week.
And something else to remember is, this is an 8-1 matchup, but this game was 10-7 with like a minute to play, Bald Eagle, and Bellwood. BG had missed 3 field goals. They gave up a touchdown in the last minute to make it 17-7. This game could have went either way at the beginning of the season, and that was at Bald Eagle area, just like this game is.
Our next game we're going to talk about here, Penn's Manor, number 6 seed at Juniata Valley, number 3 at Class 1A quarterfinals. And Mike's notes will tell you here about Streaky because Juniata Valley's coming off a really big loss.
Yeah.
Points-wise, I can't remember what Penn's Manor did. I think Penn's Manor,
Penn's Manor actually had their best win of the season last week. They knocked off Purchase Line, who's the number 2 seed in the 1A playoffs right now. So that was a big win for Penn's Manor. It's actually what helped get them into the playoffs because it was still like up in the air. Penn's Manor's been in playoff mode the last 2 weeks because they had to beat Portage and then they had to beat Purchase Line, and they won their last 2 games to get in. Now, Juniata Valley, it's been like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with them this year. They are 7-3, but the games that they have lost to West Branch, Mount Union, and Winburn have all been really ugly losses. Now, that said, they've had some really huge wins too, where they blew teams out. So it's just a matter of which Hornets team is going to show up for this one.
Does that hurt you if you haven't been in a close game then? Like Mike says, I mean, they're either getting blown out or they're blowing people out. Now you're in a playoff game where it's win or go home.
Yeah, and I know if I were a coach, I would want them to be in a close game at some point around the year. They didn't really have that this year, so who knows? Maybe they get that this week. But yeah, I know, especially against a really good team. I would think they would have had a close game somewhere along the line. They didn't, but hey, and maybe that's their advantage this week because they're the home team.
They did manage to beat North Star 21-20, but that was very early in the season.
Okay. Going to our next game at closer seeds, we have a 5 seed and a 4 seed. Class 1A quarters, West Branch at Cambria Heights. And we've kind of made West Branch, or at least I've made them our adoptive team, even though because I couldn't believe what
they were picked for the line of the week.
They were because I still couldn't get over an 0-4 team beating a 4-0 team.
Yeah.
But anyways, Cambria Heights now, they've ever even played each other. I mean, I know you know the West Branch area. Is this the first time these two have even played each other?
They haven't played since Max Preps goes back to 2004, and I think when I looked on it, I had not seen any matchups. So they haven't played since then.
This should be a good game then, just based on the seedings and.
It should be. It should be. And Penn and Cambria Heights this is their 3rd year in a row with a home playoff game. They won in the first round last year, but they got upset as the top seed the couple of years ago, I think. And they have just been, looking for that signature win this year. They didn't get it against United Valley. They didn't get it against Northern Cambria. And I think that, this is they win. If they win this game, they probably get Northern Cambria in the next round. And that they're upset about not getting that cool bucket back last week. So if you can get this win and get another chance at Northern Cambria, that's going to mean a lot to those people. Now, also, I wanted to point out that I showed Andy this the other day. Ray Eckenrode, who used to work here at the Manor, has pointed out an striking similarity between the Cambria Heights new mascot and groundskeeper Willie from The Simpsons. Maybe we can get the screenshots up here on the video, but there had to be some kind of inspiration there, and got to give credit to Ray for pointing that out.
Super fan, Cambria Heights grad and super
So we're
fan.
sure that the field will be prepared very well for this game.
I'm curious, looking at Mike's notes too, is it as simple as if Heights stops this Tyler Biggins? I mean, 2,000 passing, 1,000 rushing, take him out of the equation, you win?
I think so, and he's been the focal point of this offense for West Branch for basically the whole season. But by the way, this season was kind of left for dead at one point for West Branch. I think they started out 0-4.
0-4.
And now they're 6-4?
They are 5-5.
5-5, sorry,
Yeah.
5-5. But winning the five of their last 6, I mean, it was an incredible run, and it all started with that win against Juniata Valley.
And Biggins was an all-state player last year. He's great. He can throw the ball. He can run the ball. The only thing that's hurt him throughout his career are turnovers. So the key for Cambria Heights is get 2 or 3 turnovers, and they probably win the game.
So he's been a big part of their offense. Okay, I had to get that in my bad. I don't do bad guys.
It's not time for the cool names.
Oh, no. He can't. The Tyler name wouldn't have made him on it. Now, let's go to our next game, which without jinxing him, this looks like, without saying it's a guarantee, but Meyersdale, I only say it because of the note that Mike has here, but it's Meyersdale, number 4 seed at Northern Bedford, 10-0 Northern Bedford, at home Northern Bedford, District 5 semifinals. Meyersdale, I know they have a winning season, but Northern Bedford's really good.
Well, and Meyersdale is 6-4, but they have went 0-3 against the 3 teams they could see in the playoffs: Northern Bedford, Windward, and North Star.
And then your other
and they have been outscored 114-13.
What? Dan, you can put that one sound effect right there. When I read that, that's what my eyes saw.
So it's like, they've played well this year, but just not against the teams that they need to play well against to have success in the playoffs. So we'll see. Northern Bedford has to take care of business, though, because they got off to a slow start last week against Glendale and only led that game 13-8 at halftime.
How hard is it coaching for Gary Black this week so that they don't sit there and hopefully they don't watch our show here and then go to practice next day and go, Coach Black, did you hear what the guys on TV said? We got this. We got this.
Hopefully he's telling the players don't put too much stock into what we say.
Don't watch our show, just don't listen to us.
But that's tough. He still has to keep them focused, which, hey, it's playoff week, and if you aren't focused right now, then there's something wrong. So
who's on the other side of the bracket, so I'm just curious.
North Star and Winber.
So teams in Northern Bedford's already...
They've beaten, but remember, North Star took them down at the very last minute.
Don't look ahead, Northern Bedford Panthers. Do not look ahead. It's Mike's Stat of the Week time, and it's on the Laurel Highlands Athletic Conference matchups. Michael, what do you got for us?
Well, first year of the new Laurel Highlands, and we had the crossover matchups, and it's pretty interesting if you look at it. The East versus the West. The East actually went 9-1 in the crossover matchups. There's only one team that lost.
Who?
Which team from the East?
Oh,
it was Tyrone.
Oh, yeah.
Tyrone. Now, all the East teams were home, and so they had that advantage. But yeah, Tyrone, with 43 seconds to go, could have tied the game on a two-point conversion, got stuffed there, and if he gets in there and they win in overtime, they could have maybe swept. But I think that's a good sign, though, for the Eastern teams, because some of those teams wondered, some of the people wondered with the teams from the Mountain League and Bellwood coming from the Inter-County Conference, how will they make out in this big, powerful Laurel Highlands? Throughout the year, the teams from the Laurel Highlands Traditional Conference did do really well. But it's nice to see those teams do well in the crossover games there to show that they belong and that this conference is going to be equal going forward.
And I think Bellwood people need to relax because it's just 1 year. And
their time's coming. They're going to be fine.
You give him a chance. You can't just judge him after 1 year. You can't judge Nick Leverton's staff after 1 year. If it's 5 years of this, then, it's a free country, do what you want. But you cannot judge after 1 year. You got to give them. I was happy that they got a win in their last game this season.
The McCartney kid's the real deal, too.
Yeah, ninth grader, folks. Yeah. Ninth grader putting up numbers like that. And speaking of numbers, now we have Andy's Line of the Week.
Short steps. Short steps are better than long steps.
Speaking of Bellwood.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, 40-6 win over Johnstown. Like we said, I was very happy for Nick Loveridge and all those guys. They were all really good to me when Tyrone still are very good to me. I was happy for them. They held Johnstown to 34 rushing yards. I want to say it was like just over 100 total yards, and a lot of that was one big touchdown on a screen pass for Johnstown. So the D-line guys, Chance Schreier, he scored a touchdown. He scored the first touchdown on a 12-yard fumble recovery. Christian Jennings, Ethan Robertson, Alex McCartney, Bryson Hestcost, Quinn Vogt, and Jordan Hance. Good season, guys.
That was the McCartney kid, the older brother?
This is the same guy. This is Alex McCartney. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Then we will top off the show here with Mike's favorite portion, which he always hopes somebody's going to rush in and break the door down, and we'll have to stop filming. But our Week 11 cool names. And I went to the Altoona division looking for names this week, and from Central Dauphin, and I hope Dan spells it right, and I hope I pronounce it right. Izior Moon.
What is it? Izior?
Izior. I''Zior Moon. And there's no year in there, Daniel. All it says is in our program is he was a defensive lineman.
Is it Warren's son?
I don't know. But
the Titans wore those Oilers uniforms.
Maybe relation to Jackie.
Izior. I just like the name Izior. I wonder if they got to call him Izzy, right? Izzy Moon. Izzy Moon. And then another name from Chambersburg. I love this just because his name is Andy Jean-Baptiste.
Whoa.
Andy Jean-Baptiste. I keep thinking, what was it, Andre? And then they just got lazy and people spelled it Andy. Because you could have been Andre Stein.
I could have been.
Yeah.
I'm legally changing my name to Andy Jean-Baptiste tomorrow.
But yeah. Andy,
I think this is the second time that Andy's talked about legally changing his name.
I don't remember what the other one was.
Because Andre the Giant in French, in American, it's Andy. He was Andy the Giant.
Hey, okay.
Andy's a big guy.
Yes,
Andy
he
wrestled. But Chambersburg wide receiver cornerback, Andy Jean-Baptiste.
It was because he was going to change it to Tom Fuller.
Tom Follery. And not be next year, Holidaysburg has a kid named E.J. Olery. And we already sat there and said,
I hope his dad's name is Tom. I hope
has a dad name. Yeah, but his dad's name isn't Tom.
See, this is why I hate the cool names, because all
We
this
just
stuff
go off.
sticks in my head. I have to remember all of it.
Tom.
These guys, they walk out the door and forget about it.
I bet you will
They
not
can just
forget
live their
about
lives. It all haunts in my mind.
Andy.
His dad's name has to be Tom, and his middle name is like Francis
No,
or
it's
something. Tom
not.
F.
He's
Olery.
E.J. Jr. and his dad is E.J. Sr. Maybe his grandfather named Tom. Anyways, that's going to do it for week 11. We have to be back next week, right? Because Central's going to play somebody here. Somebody local has to win. So hopefully we'll have more.
We have 2 more weeks guaranteed, because Central is going to be playing either Tyrone or Penn, Cambria, who's one of our teams, so they'll win that
There you
game.
go. There you go. But for Mike Boydham, for Andre Jean-Baptiste Stein, I am Scoot Franca. How about if I just go like Scoot?
Okay.
Scoot Franca, thank you for watching the Altoona Manor Football Show on YouTube TV and Public Access Channel 13. Thanks.